This program is brought to you by Newsworks in cooperation with the City of Eau Claire. This program is simulcast on WRFP-LP 101.9 FM. Hello and welcome to Meet the Candidates. In this series by Newsworks, an imprint of Valley MediaWorks, we introduce local candidates for state-level elections. The next election is November 6th. I'm Heather Rigby, your host, and I'm joined by Mel Pittman. Thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay. How about you start us off by letting us know what district you're running for and what your party affiliation is?
I'm running for the 31st Senate District, and it includes the areas of Pierce, Buffalo, Pepin, Trempealeau, 2/3 of Jackson, and most of Eau Claire County and the City of Eau Claire, and a little bit of Dunn County. And I'm running as a Republican candidate.
It's a fairly large area.
It is. It's all or part of 7 counties. But the City of Eau Claire actually makes up 1/3 of the district in population.
Okay. Well, why are you running?
That's a very good question. We all have issues that we are concerned about. And I'm concerned about the future for our children and grandchildren. And that's the main reason I'm running. But back a number of years ago, I was asked to run for county board in Pierce County, where I live. And I did that partly because of my son, who actually, after finishing school, he decided to join the Marines. And he enlisted in the Marines, and a couple months after that happened, some people called me up and said, "Mel, we'd like you to run for county board." And I thought about it for about a week, which is all the time I had, in order to turn in my nomination papers. And I decided if my son was willing to give up 4 years of his life for active duty, that I could try to give up 2 years of my life to serve in my community on county board. Well, that lasted for 12 years because I did run a number of times after that, and sometimes I was opposed, sometimes. But I actually enjoyed serving on county board. I enjoyed the process of trying to work with others to take care of our community, solve the issues that needed to be solved. And then, so my last time running for county board, some of the same constituents asked me if I would be interested in running for state senate. And so that's why I'm running again, because people see the leadership ability that I possess to serve in that capacity. And also because, like I said earlier, I'm doing it because I believe we try to have a decent life for our children and grandchildren, not just mine, but everyone's children.
So what sets you apart from your opponent in this race?
There's probably quite a few things. We do differ on a number of the issues that are in front of us, but my background, a business person, as a farmer, it's a way of life, but it's also a business in today's world where we need to manage our expenses. We need to make sure we have enough revenue. And that's actually quite difficult in the farming industry because we're not price setters, we're price takers. And so to be able to put some money aside when you have good years and to survive the bad years or the tough years is really important. And we've been doing that for over 40 years. And people take notice when you can be successful in a farming career because we have a lot of ups and downs in those cycles. And so that's one of the things that I've been able to manage through good times and bad times as a business person. And then also getting out and serving in my community in different events as far as the county board, and where I also served on committees, extension committees, land conservation. So I have the breadth of knowledge of what it is to take care of our land and our environment. I also do that on my farm and my farming practices, where we do a lot of no-tilling and cover crops so that we maintain and preserve the soil, and that also helps to keep us clean water. Other areas where I've served has been my dairy co-op board of directors. 3 years ago, I was actually elected to be chairman of the dairy co-op board to serve in that capacity. I recently stepped down this past spring so that I would allow myself more time to campaign. Farm Technology Days is a big one. I was chosen out of people to be the executive chair when we hosted Farm Technology Days in Pierce County in 2010. that's the largest outdoor agriculture show that's on that in the state of Wisconsin, and we had about 1,200 volunteers that were working underneath that umbrella. Well, a couple of years after our show, I was asked to serve on the state board of directors where we had a vacancy, and I accepted that offer, and currently I serve as vice chair on the state board of directors for Farm Technology Days. And that's an opportunity to actually the counties themselves find out what leadership is and brings the members of that community together to serve in a role where they can raise some money for the good things that we can do in the county. Eau Claire County is actually going to be hosting Farm Technology Days in the year 2020 here. And so I'm happy to say that I think that's a big plus for Eau Claire County.
All right. So aside from being a farmer and having that on your list of qualifications, you mentioned a few other things that you are concerned with. What would you say are the top issues that you are looking to address?
A lot of what I hear from constituents is the infrastructure needs, the highway, lack of taking care of highways, lack of revenue, which we need to find new sources of revenue, and I think there's a couple opportunities there. One in maybe adding a few cents to the gas tax. Another one is vehicle registration to increase that a smaller amount, not as much as my opponent who wants to raise it dramatically. General revenue funds might be another option to help fix our highways that need it fixed. And it's not just our major highways. A lot of our local townships, they're in desperate need of some additional dollars. And so as I visited with local towns and even the counties, they certainly could use some more financial resources. And along with that is broadband. So many of our businesses, our homes with families that don't have a desired broadband. And I think it's really important for broadband to be available for businesses to stay on our more rural communities. If we can keep businesses in our rural communities, then we'll have families living there. And if we can keep the families living there, guess what? We'll have a need for schools. If the families can exit our rural areas, the schools will close because of lack of enrollment. So there's a lot of things that we got to do in order to keep things in the right order so that we can keep our population more evenly distributed. But that's probably the biggest issue. Another one is education and school safety. We need to provide a quality education for our kids as they grow up. But along with that, they're our most precious resource. And so by making sure that we can keep them as safe as possible in our schools is of utmost importance. And I applaud the legislature for awarding some grants last year for schools that gave them the ability to do some security measures to keep the students safer. Actually, my local school in Plum City actually received one of those grants last year, and they had another round. The filing deadline was in August of this year, so that's great that we're working in that area. Another agenda item that I'm running on is job training and welfare reform. We have a lot of vacancies and a lot of businesses are looking for employees, and we need to help those that are able to get the training they need, whether it's through apprenticeship, more education, to help them fill these especially the trade jobs, because those are some high-paying jobs that we need to have filled so that work can continue to get done. And welfare reform, it's not that difficult to figure out. When business owners tell me that, well, my employee can only work 2 days a week because if they work anymore, then they lose their government benefits. Why can't we change that sliding scale and tip it so that if they work 3 days a week, the money they make on that third day way offsets the amount of benefits that they lose, so that they're always financially better off if they work more days and not less. So those are things that I really would like to work on to help improve our communities and also our businesses.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you feel voters should know about you before they make their decision on November 6th?
When you asked the question earlier, what sets me apart from my opponents? I actually have two opponents, but the one in particular, we're of similar age. We both have families, But my concern about our area here in western Wisconsin, and actually for the state of Wisconsin, is when we want to make improvements, we have to be very prudent about what improvements we're willing to make. And what I mean by that is, where are we going to spend the next dollars in tax dollars? And I've listened to what my opponent has said, and I believe that we're going to have to increase taxes dramatically in order to pay for a lot of the things that he's talking about. That really concerns me, because there's a lot of families that are unable to pay, a significant increase in their property tax, for example, or an increase in their income tax. There's an opportunity out here in the market today for employment where younger people or people that are making a small wage an hour, even if it is above minimum wage, there's a lot of opportunity if they can advance themselves to make a much better wage per hour. And I think that that's the best opportunity to help a lot of our people living in our communities, is to help them get a better job so that they can make more dollars per hour and they can support their family life.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to our viewers at home. This program and other programs like it are supported by our community partners. If you're interested in how you can be involved, please visit our website, valleymediaworks.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This program was brought to you by a cooperation between Newsworks and the City of Eau Claire. Newsworks is made possible by continuing community support. If you would like to volunteer or make a donation, please contact us via phone at 715-839-5067 or online at valleymediaworks.org.